There, many Americans are struggling to get their kids ready for school, and there could be even more to worry about once school starts. This past week, the California Department of Education released the 2009 STAR report, with a standardized testing and reporting program that showed some improvements, but some causes for concern for middle and high school students here in Pasadena. The PUSD Superintendent Edwin Diaz is here live to discuss what to expect this school year. Thanks so much for going on camera with me.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
First, I want to ask how you're doing, because I know last month you had a mild stroke. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. In fact, I'm probably feeling better now than I did before.
Well, that's good.
My illness. And I think everything's recovered, and I'm ready to go for this year.
Okay, that sounds good. Has anything like that happened to you before?
No, that was first time, quite unexpected, and still trying to find out the reasons why it happened.
All right. Well, we're glad you're doing better.
Well, thanks for asking.
No problem that you're here with us. Let's talk about the STAR report. Some slight improvement for elementary school students. We can talk about that first.
Sure.
What was that like to hear that news, that there's some improvement going on there, and what do you think was the reason behind it?
Well, actually, there was improvement across the board. I believe 25 of our 28 schools improved their scores on the STAR, both in English language arts and in math, including all of our middle schools. So we were very excited to see that the trend of improvement is still there, and has been there for the last 5 years.
Okay, but we did see some scores fall, right? Especially, I think, when you look at or focus on Muir High School, there's quite a bit of disappointment there.
Well, I think with their CST scores, language arts was flat, so they had the same number of kids proficient or advanced. And I think the slight drop was in math. They went from 9% proficient to 8% proficient.
How frustrating might that be? Is there frustration with John Muir here?
I think no. Actually, I'm looking forward to this year, because I think the staff and the community and the administration and parents worked very hard last year to put in place a number of changes at John Muir.
Right, you have the reinvention,
right,
and all of those resources spent there.
And not all of them were academic. Some of them were the organization of the school day. Some of them were establishing a more orderly and structured environment, getting mentors on campus to work with the kids. There was some facilities upgrades, and there was a lot of focus on getting kids in the right courses and actually getting kids in more challenging courses than they had been in the previous year.
But concern out there in the community that there was an improvement after all of that happened. Can you understand that concern, and how do you address that?
I understand that concern, and I think all of us would want bigger results and greater gains that first year. But school reform doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen where all of a sudden 1 year you put in some extra supports or a new plan, and then you have off-the-chart growth. And in fact, it's pretty typical when you try something new that there's even a drop in scores during the implementation period. But all of those strategies are in place. I think for us, our focus is implement what we said we were going to do and do it well, and we're confident that we're going to get better results.
All right, more with PUSD Superintendent Edwin Diaz when we come back. You are watching CCN Crown City News, your neighborhood. Don't go away. Back here with PUSD Superintendent Edwin Diaz. We were just talking about John Muir, and you seem to have a lot of hope, a lot of positivity about all of it.
I'm optimistic.
Optimistic. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. But when you look at some of these scores, and I've gone to the state website and all of that, there are still some really. Things may have increased or improved, but when you look at the numbers, you still see 44% below proficient. You see 31%, 21% below proficient in a lot of these different areas. We're celebrating, but these numbers are still really bad.
Well, I think the only thing we're celebrating district-wide is the trend of improvement year after year. But that improvement doesn't take away the urgency around making sure that we have more kids who are proficient and advanced. When you look at those numbers and you look at the fact that at least half of the kids district-wide aren't proficient and advanced, that concerns us. And that's exactly why we came up with the reinvention effort, and we're making significant changes, not only at John Muir, but also with our middle schools, and we're making some changes at some of our elementary schools.
All right, let's talk about cuts. How did the budget end up for PUSD, and what are you looking to cut to save money?
Well, we ended up with a balanced budget for this year. So in 09-10, we will have a balanced budget. However, the way we balanced the budget was by using a lot of the one-time federal stimulus dollars in order to maintain some programs and not have to lay off staff for this year.
That helps now, but next year is a different story, right?
So for next year, we have to cut an anticipated $18 million.
Wow.
And so that is a task and a number that will require us to cut supplemental programs, enrichment programs, increase class sizes, reduce administrative staff. There's no way to make $18 million of cuts and not affect instructional program.
But what about the PEF and these people out there in the community that are raising funds for the PUSD? I mean, is there no way to make that money?
Well, yes, there is. And so I'm describing the worst case scenario. If we have to cut 18 million, then it's going to be devastating for our school district. But you don't close a budget gap only by cuts. And if there's opportunities to generate resources, either through some specific fundraising for certain initiatives, we're always looking for grants, we're always looking for other ways to close that gap. But we need some additional funds. The possibility of generating some local revenue is still something we're considering.
Okay, we'll need to follow up on that. What about the dropout rate? Going through the roof, it looks like, when you look at the numbers.
Well, it's way too high. It's something that we're very, very concerned about. It's something that we're taking a community-wide approach to resolving. This last year, we have put in a number of strategies that we think over the long run will significantly reduce the dropout rate. But whether it's 16% or 20%, it's way too high for a district this size. I
have to go and I'm going to get in trouble, but just give me very quickly your vision and thought for this coming year.
Well, this year, I'm really, really optimistic and more excited than any year since I've been here. And the reason is because we do have a solid track record of improvement, and we are starting to learn what strategies are working, but we also have the plans like the Excellent Middle School, John Muir Reinvention, multiple pathways. We're implementing some new innovative programs at the elementary level that if we implement well and we focus and we implement with persistence and with passion and engage our community, I'm positive we're going to get some good results.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. People can go to your website, Pasadena USD, a new website, .org, PasadenaUSD.org for more information. Thank you for talking with us today. I really appreciate it.